Awesome, guys. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to talk about staying organized. What I have might work for you. You might pick up one thing, two things, or be able to implement some things into your business. It's not the end-all, be-all. This is just kind of what I have found that has worked for me. So let's kind of dive into it. I'm all jacked up on coffee. I've had about 3 cups already, so if I talk too fast, just type in and tell Kevin to let me know to slow down. So let's get started here. Hold on one second.
So far, so good. You sound great.
All right, cool. So just so you know who you're talking to, this is me and my wife. My wife is Cammie. My name, again, is Ross. This was out at WPPI. We went out and did a photo shoot, and this is in some random beat-up vacant pool. So probably need to update our profile pic, as this was a couple years ago. But just so you know who you're talking to, here we are. We have 2 brands for our business. So we started doing wedding photography back in 1998. We did it under the name of Elegant Images, and I really wanted to dive into seniors, so we created another brand for seniors and came up with Roca Studios. The RO are the first 2 letters of my name, and the KA is the first 2 letters of my wife's name, and that's kind of how we got into, or that's how we got our studio name for Roca Studios. I love seniors. They're my passion. I still photograph weddings with my wife. We do about 30 weddings a year and absolutely love it. So here's some of our wedding work right here. Again, our wedding brand is Elegant Images, and we felt that the name was kind of dated, but we had all the links out there. We had the website out there, and we just didn't want to change that name. So we came up with the Roca Studios brand. As far as getting organized, most of what I'm going to be talking about has to be with your computer. How to have folder structures, and we'll talk a little bit about after capture, iDevices, and kind of go through a lot of different things that has worked for me over the years. So probably the best quote I've ever had, and actually came on a mouse pad that I had from Best Buy, is when you're self-employed, when you own your own business, you only have to work a half a day. You can do anything you want with the other 12 hours. Being self-employed is hard. You have to wear many hats. You have to know how to SEO, blog, market, sell, create portfolios, no SEO, no taxes and accounting. So it's kind of difficult when you're self-employed. So hopefully some of these will kind of help you organize your life a little bit. So we just recently moved. This is our old house, but we had a home studio. We now have a studio down in Denver, about 50 minutes away from where we live. But we had a home studio where we'd meet with wedding clients, and this is our little meeting room that we had set up for our wedding clients. Now we just meet all our clients down at our studio, but I thought I'd show it because I think the majority of people out there that will meet in their homes or meet in their coffee shops. So we had this little room dedicated to meet with clients. Then we also had a presentation room. We had a home theater room. So this was my quote-unquote tax write-off that I fought with my wife about getting, but once we had it, the whole family enjoyed it and loved it. So we bring clients in here, we show them slideshows, presentations, and do little release parties for our wedding clients. And here's another view of our home theater right here, looking out into, see if my mouse shows up on here, but this is the little meeting room we had over here. Around the corner was our dedicated office that we had. So keys to getting organized and things I'm going to be talking about in this webinar for you guys. So stopping the repetition. So we want to make it as easy as possible so you're not typing and doing the same things over and over, and I'll talk about ways that you can do that. Finding your strengths and defining your roles in your business. The triple F, forms, folders, and filing, just organization structure, whether it's in a filing cabinet or on your computer. We'll be talking about setting up your workspace. And then, as I said, we'll be talking a little bit of after capture workflow, what I do to make it a little bit easier on myself, and then talking about iDevices. So finding your strengths and defining your roles. So whether you're a one-man team, a husband and wife team, or you share the business with somebody else. So just finding your strengths of who does your editing and color correcting, album designs, marketing and advertising, doing the sales, doing the blogging, and doing your bookkeeping. So finding what your strengths are, finding out what your weaknesses are. You can outsource your weaknesses, or if you have a partner in your business, see if they can pick it up where they are better at it. So for us, finding our strengths, for us, it just kind of fell naturally into place when we started wedding photography back in '98. My wife and I both do wedding photography together. We have 3 kids, so she wants to stay at home with the kids as much as possible. So any kind of engagement session, senior session, sales appointments, anything like that is just myself. But other than that, for wedding photography, it's me and my wife. I tend to do all the editing. I love that process. I do the sales down at the studio. I do all the blogging, the phone, and the emails. And I'm the spinner in the relationship. And my wife is the non-spinner in the relationship. So it kind of balances us out. My wife, she's great at bookkeeping. She does great jobs at designing. She takes care of payroll. Again, she's the mother, and she's my wife. So we kind of fell naturally into those roles. There's also outsourcing. So all my online orders, I outsource. I don't even touch them. So we use collages.net, and we let them take care of everything else as far as all the ordering. SEO, pretty much that's kind of a dual process. I did the most of it myself for the longest time, and then I hired somebody to kind of dial it in and paid him for about 6 months to help with the SEO on our Roca Studio senior site. Taxes, we know nothing about taxes, so obviously we outsource that. Automatic emails. Obviously, I do have to do a lot of emails, but I've set it up with ShootQ for certain automatic emails where I don't even have to touch it, or if I do need to touch it, I just have to click it that I need to send it because the email template is already designed. Album design. A lot of times my wife will do album designs, and also collages will do album design for us. Come summertime, when we're busy in weddings and knee-deep in seniors, I will actually outsource my editing when I'm too busy to do it and I need to be out there shooting. But most of the time, in the slower parts, I do all my editing. So a couple of the most important things in business. Business, we love photography. We all love it. We love the art of it. But the most important thing is we want to support a family and we want to make money. That's why we are in business. So a couple things is deciding if you're a sole proprietorship, LLC, or S Corp. We have actually been all 3 as we started our business. When we were sole proprietorship, we were using Quicken for our books and doing it all ourselves and just sending it to our tax accountant and said, figure it out. Then we found a great accountant and we moved from an LLC to an S Corp. In the first year that we were an S Corp, we saved $12,000 in taxes. So which brings me to finding a great accountant. That is crucial. Somebody you can talk to, bounce questions off, figure out your taxes, figure out what you can write off. Being an S Corp is a lot more tedious. You have to reconcile every month. You have to do payroll. You have to do payroll taxes every month. But in the end, it saved us a lot more money at the end of the year. So finding a good accountant will help steer you in that direction. Once we reached a certain plateau, I guess, or a certain threshold of income, we moved from one to the other to finally the S Corp. QuickBooks. QuickBooks is crucial. You need to know where your money is and where it's going and what you're spending it on. You can't run a business without knowing what your money is doing. And so with that, for a chart of accounts, how do you organize your chart of accounts in QuickBooks? A lot of times your accountant will set it up for you. If not, PPA offers a free template of chart of accounts that you can download if you're a PPA member. So reconcile your credit cards and bank statements once a month. Again, know what that money is doing, where it's going, how you're spending it on. You need to know those things on a monthly basis, even a weekly basis if you can. So, and then folders for paperwork and receipt filing. So create it so you know where it is and you can find it at any time. Let's move on to the next slide. Let's see, the triple F, folders, forms, and filing for you guys. So folders for your computer. This is the kind of the structures that I have. So we'll kind of dive into each and every one of them. Not every one of them because there's a lot, but just kind of give you an idea of how I organize things. So client folders. So I do my client folders by the year, and I have photos of all my clients by the dates, and I'll show you that. So I have an album folder of all the designs. Again, it's done by year. That way we can go in there and we save the PSTs and we save the JPEGs of the album designs we do. So this can be wedding albums, baby albums, or senior albums. I have a vendor folder. So we do a lot of weddings. For those of you who do weddings, giving your photos to all your vendors. Create a folder for them so at the end of the month you can hand out photos to your vendors if you guys work together and get referrals and get that relationship kicking. So I have a marketing folder, anything and everything that I do for marketing, and I have subfolders in that marketing folder. So I will have I'll have my logos in there. I'll have my Instagram stuff in there. I will have my Facebook stuff in there. I'll have my advertising in there. I'll have my PDF. So everything that's in marketing goes in one folder, and then the subcategories after that. I also have a downloads folder. So any kind of software I've ever downloaded or purchased, I keep it in one place. Even though I might put it somewhere else on my computer for something else, I have just one main folder for all the software that I've ever downloaded or added to my computer from a CD. This way, if I need to reinstall it or I want to install it on another computer, I can have that. I also have a Photoshop folder. So again, any kind of purchases I've made, I love overlays and templates and backgrounds and things like that for design work. So I have a Photoshop folder that has everything that would be related to Photoshop in there. I also have a PDF folder for all my PDFs. So I have, for instance, I have a model rep guide, I have a pricing guide, I have a card template guide that I can send at any time to any client, so they can see our prices, our cards, our album designs, or anything like that. I also have an idea folder, so ideas for places I want to shoot or things I might want to try. So if I see something online, maybe you know, a great studio setup or a nice organization closet or a place I want to shoot, I'll just grab a screenshot of it and drop it in here, and that way I can go back to it and look at ideas. Obviously, Pinterest is great for that, but I like to keep it on my computer. So, also a letters and stationery folder, so anything I want to print out for letters or stationery. And then I also have a slideshows or website folder. So the slideshows, I use eMotion, so any of the eMotion videos that I create, not only does it go into the master slideshow folder, but I will also duplicate that and put that in the individual clients folder. Website folder, so anytime I'm working or adding to a website, every logo I've resized or created a PNG, any headers that I've created, any templates for that, I create in that folder. That way I can find it at a later date if I need to change anything. So here's my folder structure right here. So our main server is a Drobo that we use. It's a 20 terabyte mirrored server. So it actually only stores 10 terabytes, but it's mirrored. So if one drive goes out, I just pop it in and it'll replace the data. So up here you can see I used to have 3 different folders. I had a wedding folder, a client folder, and a senior folder. So weddings, obviously, were just exclusively weddings. My client folder would be family portraits, kid portraits, and also headshots, and then I had my senior folder. And then I'd break that down by year. Let me escape out of there real quick. Sorry, guys. And then I started by date, so that way I could find it easier. So I have my date here. Here's March 2nd, 2011. This is a 7-month-old session. And for those that you like to see the folder tabs and don't like the Mac version that way, here's just the folder structure. 2009 weddings, 2010 clients, seniors, cards, clients, seniors, and then some other things, blog borders, and I kind of dive into this a little bit more for you guys to take a look at. So when it comes time to ordering or finding pictures, I just go to my client folder, I go to the date, I go to my JPEG, which are my finished, ready to print images, and then I can find all my images right here and select the image that they need printed. So all things Photoshop, as I talked about earlier, I like to keep everything that I need to use for Photoshop in one place. So in here you can see a bunch of different folders. So I have album templates, overlays, patterns, actions, backgrounds, card templates, canvas gallery templates, brushes, borders, blogget borders, custom shapes. So I have all kind of things that, as you can see, I like to purchase and use. Boys do need their toys, so I do like getting things and trying different things in Photoshop. So this is a Photoshop folder. You can also have a card template folder and break it down. So you can have accordion wallets, any kind of birth announcements or children announcements that you want, business cards, Christmas cards, gift cards, senior grad cards, save the date cards. So keep those organized in one place so you can find them. So even though they're in a master folder, I also break them down where I can find them easily, but also have a master folder to get to them if I ever lose this folder. So I have another folder for all my backgrounds, anything I want to use for design work, all in one place. So anything I purchase over the years, I just drag it to this one folder. I also have just another example of the Photoshop folder. I have a folder just of textures that I like to use on a regular basis. I also have one for clouds. So if I need to add some clouds, no clouds in the sky, I want to add something dramatic to the picture, I can just drag it and drop it into Photoshop and work with it on there. I also have email folders that I set up on my computer to help me keep me organized. Any kind of website inquiries, I drop it into one folder that I have. Anything that I purchase as far as software or logins or anything I need, I create an email folder that I keep all my passwords and codes in. So even though there's software out there that will remember all your passcodes and things like that, sometimes if you need to find it, instead of digging through all your emails, I just have a little folder for passwords and software codes. Online receipts. Basically anything I purchase online, I just drag and drop. Obviously I print it out and give it to my wife to go in QuickBooks, but I have a section where I can have all my online receipts in one place. Email confirmation letters or vendors. So anything, if I'm sending vendors photos of a wedding that we worked together on, I just have email confirmations, one that I sent and once hopefully that they replied thanking me for working with me and thanking me for the pictures. Any sent emails, obviously there's a sent email folder, but a lot of times I like to CC myself on it, so I have it and it's in one spot. So I have that, which also duplicates to my ShootQ account, which I'll talk a little bit later in this webinar. So let's talk a little bit about forms, any kind of forms that you might need for your business. As far as forms, save time, money, and a couple of trees. I create pretty much PDFs for everything I use frequently. Pricing guides, card templates. I have card templates for seniors. I have PDF templates for Christmas cards, anything that I want to send out to my clients. Pricing guides. There's so many templates out there that you can purchase to make your business look spectacular with great designs, and you can just drag and drop, add your own pricing, add your own pictures in it, and send it to your clients and make it look as best as you can to get that money from those clients. Pricing forms, order forms, album forms, any kind of letters, I'm creating a PDF for. Most of the time I like to use Acrobat Pro so I can make fillable PDFs. So if I'm doing an album form for a client that does not live in Colorado that's doing an album, I can send it to them and we can fill it out online with them. Let's see what else is behind here. So client worksheets. Right now I mainly use ShootQ. I do have a couple of samples I'll show you for my client worksheets that I do use for them. Other things that we can use as far as creating forms, permission to print forms. So for those of you that include a flash drive or a DVD in your packages, whether it's a portrait or a wedding, make sure you have a permission to print. That way they don't have to come back to you and say, hey, this lab won't let me print pictures because they're professional prints. Can you send me a permission to print form? Same thing, I do a DVD or flash drive release form and I put it on the flash drive. A photo checklist. So any client that I'm going to do a wedding with, I have a checklist that I go over with them. It includes, you know, who's who, the family dynamics in their family. Are there any divorcees? Are there any deceased? There must have pictures. All the vendors they're working with. There must have pictures. What's their favorite thing about their wedding? And I'll show a little bit about that too as well. But it's good to know if you're doing a wedding, you want to know everything so there's no surprises on the wedding day. We've created an album order form, so for all our albums. That'll include, you know, type of paper, type of cover, any kind of imprinting they may want, how many pictures and things like that. And then I also, it's not a form, but I'll show it to you. I have session locations that I have on a Google map. So here's just a little screen grab of some of the forms we have: holiday cards, portrait guide, card binder, which has all our cards, wedding guide, DVD release form, permission to print. We used to do a signature frame back in the days. This just gave them instructions of what pins to look for and how to care for it. And then we have a little U+S guide that a template I purchased that we send to all our clients talking about their timeline of their wedding day, their engagement session. I send that to our clients right after we book with them. So here's a sample of what I put on our flash drive when we give a flash drive to a portrait client or a wedding client. So it lets them know that they have permission to print. It also lets them know that if they lose their files, it's $200 to replace it. It also directs them to MPix to create their own pictures. Obviously, they can go to Costco or Walgreens. We try to steer them away from that, but we want them to get some good prints. But we use MPix for the clients. Once they have the images, they can do what they want with it. We still have the collages gallery, so they can always order from there if they want. And most of the time they do. They're kind of too lazy to actually order on their own. They just want them and they stick them in a drawer. I also put in here crop ratios for them, just so they kind of realize if they want a 5:7, 8:10, 11:14, they will kind of lose some of the pictures. So I let them be aware of that. So here's a sample of our senior pricing guide for this last year. This is our main cover on the left side, and then here's all the pages on the right side. So it talks about what to wear, our session prices, our products, as a featured senior, and it goes over everything they might need to know about their senior experience with us. Right here, here's a sample of our wedding questionnaire that I usually have with consultation with the bride and groom. Lets me know, we have kind of ways that we fill it out, but it lets us know, are the parents together, are they divorced, are they deceased, do they get along, are they going to be there for pictures, who the bridal party is, the timeline, the vendors that they're using, their favorite photos and things like that. It's actually a 3-page form that I have, but this just keeps us on track on the wedding day so we don't miss any of their must-have portraits. We know who's who, and it also kind of gives us an idea once we talk to them, because those of you that are wedding photographers out there know you hardly have any time for formal portraits and also pictures of the bride and groom. So a lot of times I'll have couples, oh, we don't want that many pictures. We go through the list and they have 50 different combinations. And so this allows me to say, hey, look, you know, now that I see this, you need to either bump up and give us a little bit more time, or maybe see each other beforehand because you got a lot of portraits. And once we're done with these portraits, we won't have time with you guys, and you guys are the most important of the day. So maybe we can minimize some of these combinations to create a little bit extra time. So it's a good form to have. So this was a copy of our DVD release form that we used to have when we did DVDs. We gave these to our wedding clients, releasing the print rights to them. It still allowed us to have the rights for any kind of advertising, commercial uses, promotional activities. They are free to print them. And it also talks about making sure they back up the DVD and that we don't have any long-term plans to store the files for them. So if they came back 10, 15, 20 years for them, we wouldn't be responsible for them. So I make the client sign this. So also on our computer, set up bookmarks for all your vendors. Here's a screen grab. I have all the photography blogs that I like to look, all the senior photography places I like to look. But for my vendors, anybody that I'm using on a regular basis, Collages, ShootQ, H&H, ShootQ, Emotion, Miller's, just create a little favorites bookmark tab so you can just go right to it and not waste any time typing it in every time. Here's the Google Maps thing I was talking about a little bit earlier. So I created Google Maps of all the places I like to shoot all over Colorado. So as you can see, this is a pretty vast area. But I drop a pin on this, and you can also put directions on it, especially if it's like a college campus or a place that has multiple parking areas. I can actually send them this link after they've told me what kind of session they're looking for. So I'll send them a link. It'll say in there automatically, meet at the lower hand parking lot next to the lake or anything, whatever is around there. So create a Google map for your clients. They'll love it. So you can give them ideas of where you like to shoot and then just send them over the link. And this goes to Kevin.
All right. So I assume most of you have received an email about our March Madness contest. This year, it's actually going to be all about matte products, or the specials we're having each week are about matte products. So there's a different special each week. But as a separate contest, we're doing a March Madness bracket, which is a really fun, exciting, quick, and literally the easiest contest ever, because even if you don't like basketball or have any idea, you can do kind of like an auto fill-in feature. And what it'll do is it'll automatically fill out a bracket for you. And towards the end, which is the final game is going to be on the first Monday of April, and after that, we're going to pick 5 winners of all of our customers that sign up, and you can see the prizes here. First place gets a yearly subscription to our Platinum plan, which is a year of online website hosting, or I should say gallery hosting, and a year of digital brag books. Second place is going to get $200 off a Matt album. Third place is a 1-year digital brag book subscription. Fourth place is going to be $100 off any Matt product, and fifth place is $50 off any Matt product. I'm going to send out a link in the follow-up email after this webinar so that if anyone missed the sign-up for this, you can still sign up, and I believe you have until Thursday morning to fill out your bracket. It literally only takes 2 minutes to fill out the bracket. But once you're in the contest, you're eligible for winning one of these top 5 prizes. And once again, we'll send an email out with a link for any of you that haven't signed up for the March Madness contest. Back to you, Ross.
All right, cool. It looks like fun, and it doesn't cost money to do. So, all right, we're going to continue with the webinar on staying organized. So that was just kind of our little midway point. If you guys have any questions, make sure you type them in, and we can have a little discussion at the end, and I can answer your questions that you may have. So let's talk a little bit about a workspace. Most of you work out of your home. We work out of our home in our studio. This is actually a picture of our old office now that we moved this past August, so I haven't had time to take a picture of our new home office. But this is basically my wife and I would work side by side downstairs. We had a great storage closet. We had all our folders that needed to be filed or orders that were coming in over here, if you guys can see my mouse. Any kind of orders that were ready to be shipped or picked up, we'd have right over here. And then over here was my little recycling area that I recycle all my papers and printouts that I'd have. Just another view from our office that we had. Not the greatest looking office, but it worked for us. So let's talk about creating an office work schedule timeline. Obviously, these can all change on a daily basis. You have clients. But try to set up a structure that you do the same thing day in and day out. So when my kids are in school, I take them to school, I have my coffee, I read my news, and then I start my day around 10 o'clock. So 10 in the morning to 11, I just save that for returning any emails that I've gotten and any phone calls that I need to call back. On Mondays, I call it Marketing Monday. So 11 to 12, I will spend that hour on any marketing material to work on. So any thank you cards or vendor photos that I need to set out. And I will just save that time. If I need to contact somebody I might want to work with or anything like that, I'll save that hour for that timeline. 12 to 4, I usually work on client photos, blogs, or any kind of orders that I need to take care of. And then 4 to 5, I save that again for returning any phone calls or emails. It's so easy to pick up the phone every time the phone rings, but sometimes you just need to be disciplined so you can get things done, especially in the busy season. So I kind of save that. I kind of don't answer calls between that work time, and I save that for early morning or late afternoon. Same thing on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, same thing pretty much. Obviously, you might have sessions involved in here that you got to schedule, but again, I try to save that timeline. On Wednesday, I have softball. I religiously play softball, so I have no appointments Wednesday evenings. Thursdays, the only thing that changes really is I usually prep for the weekend shoots. So charge batteries, get my cards formatted and ready to go, clean my sensor, anything like that. And then Friday, I do anything that can't be done over the weekend from 11 to 4. So setting up your filing cabinet, for us, we have client folders for their DVDs, their contracts, and their order forms. We do use ShootQ for a lot of that, but just in case and to be extra careful and, I guess, extra nerdy, I like to have it on paper. I like to look at it and hold it sometimes, but I like to have it backed up. So if anything goes wrong, I always have a paper trail. So ShootQ's never gone down for us, but if ever did, we'd kind of be lost. So we have a folder for any kind of order forms that we may need, a vendor folder. Anytime we go to WPPI or imaging, we come back with all kinds of marketing material, printouts, and things like that. So I keep that in a vendor folder. Anybody that I might want to use as far as album companies, catalogs, etc. I keep them there so I can find it in one location. All my client checklists, once I'm done with the client checklist I showed you guys for weddings, I keep that information and put it in a folder. That way if I ever need to go back and see who the vendor was, maybe they want some pictures, or they say, oh, I worked on this wedding, can you send me a picture from this? And I can just look and find out who was who, and if I want to submit to Two Bright Lights, I can go back and say who are all their vendors and add them to Two Bright Lights. Same thing with completed contracts. Even though we use ShootQ, I do print out a form of it and keep it in a folder. Also, the software licenses and passwords that I had the email folder for, again, probably just adding the extra protection here, I print it out and keep it in a safe place as well, so I have it. Any magazine articles that I might want to keep, I don't want to keep the whole magazine, but I might want to look back at that article. I have a folder, a couple folders actually now for that. And mailing labels, any kind of mailing labels that I need, I print it out and leave it there so I can use it. And any kind of release forms that we talked about earlier. Also pretty much recycle everything I can from the office. So any kind of boxes that we get in from albums or prints or anything like that, I keep them in my garage and I reuse them for shipping. I also recycle the packaging contents. So any of the cardboards, the peanuts, or the paper, that way I can use it again. Usually come Christmas time, I'm pretty much out of it and desperate to find some. So recycle all our old forms and info sheets and any ink. So I don't know if you guys know this, but if you recycle your ink cartridges and take them to Office Max, you get a free ream of paper. So I just saved you $5 right there by just listening to this webinar. So save into your ink cartridges and take them to Office Max and get some free paper. Then we recycle our shredded paper magazines. And for, here's a little picture. This is our little tub. So any of our packaging comes in, we just dump in the peanuts in there and use it for the next client. So let's go into client tracking. And as I said, I've said it several times, you know, we like to use ShootQ for our client tracking. God, we've been using them probably about 6, 7 years now. I don't even know if it's been that long, maybe 5. I absolutely love what they've done for our business and organizing it and helping us stay structured and saving some time for us with ShootQ. There are some other companies out there that you can try. I don't know the price points, but I would highly recommend getting a studio management software to help you stay on track. So with ShootQ for us, it automatically populates any kind of email inquiries that we get from our website. We also have a tab where we can have an email log and any kind of phone conversations I have with potential clients or current clients. You can create individual contracts. So we have a headshot contract, a senior rep contract, a senior session contract, a wedding contract, a portrait contract. So you can unlimited as far as contracts go. You can also create a workflow so you can keep up with all your tasks. So you can create any kind of custom workflow so it keeps up with where you are in the process, what needs to be done. Do you need to email vendors? Do you need to blog it, Facebook it, put it on social media? Do you need to order an album? Do you need to let them know it's time for a meeting? So it's another great tool to have so you can just kind of check off your task. It also can do invoicing for you. You can download it and have it go to QuickBooks, and you can also set it up to accept credit cards. So when somebody signs their wedding contract, they can pay the retainer right there online, or their senior session, or if I'm doing a sales session down at the studio, I can just put it in under their name that they bought this, and I can accept credit cards right there on the spot. You can also track referrals, which is awesome. I love looking at numbers. I'm kind of a geek like that. But I can track where they're coming from and see if things are working. And if I'm getting referrals from certain people, I can go back and thank them for sending me referrals. Also, we have it set up where we can kind of put in our track packaging products and notes. You know, when we mailed something, how we mailed it, whether it's FedEx, UPS, or the post office. That way we can kind of just keep an idea in case somebody calls that they haven't received an order. We can put that in our notes. It also has a shared calendar, so on my Macs and iPhones. So not only will it put in my personal information when I sync it to the calendar, but it also vice versa and put all my book projects on our calendar and our Mac. So anything my wife puts in, and it'll show up on her phone, on her computer, and also our ShootQ. And the biggest thing for me is the email templates that they have, which I absolutely love the templates. So you can customize it to anything you want, so you're not typing it over and over and over. Speaking of email templates, let's kind of get into that. So any kind of inquiries, automatic template goes out to them, thanking them, letting them know a little bit about us, how to see more of our work on our blog, and that we'll be in touch with them within the next 24 hours if it's a weekday. Also, thank you for booking. It sends them a letter to, or not a letter, it sends them an email thanking them for booking, letting them know the process. It also will guide them to our pricing and kind of planting the seed of what our prices are, so they can kind of get a refresher look what our process is. We send out an email after we book for engagement session tips. We actually send the U plus Us guide that kind of talks about that to them. I send out an automatic email. You don't have to do a thing. Once I sign the client and I put in the workflow, it sends about 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks now. An automatic email that's time to set up a details meeting with them. Day after the wedding, it automatically sends my clients a thank you email, thanking them for letting us photograph their wedding and kind of what to expect after the wedding. How long will it be before they see the pictures? When can they expect that? An automatic email to let them know their photos are on the blog. You know, that way I don't have to type it in, hey, just want to let you know we had pictures on the blog. Automatically does that. All I do is push the button, which is great. Don't have to type that up again. Also, I send out an email that their gallery is on collages.net. They already get the email, but I just want to make sure that they got it and are aware of it, just in case it went to their spam folder. I want them to be aware that their gallery is live. And then also, on Collages, we tell our clients to use a favorite folder so they can create their favorite folder and put their album pictures in there, pictures they want for their digital brag book. And I created a detailed information of how to do that. Same thing, how to select images for your album, creating a favorite folder on collages.net. So these are all automatic emails. It'll automatically populate the client's name in there, how to do it, what to expect, or anything like that. These are emails that I don't have to create on a daily basis. And then for seniors, I have an email of how to submit your yearbook photo. So they actually come to our studio now. So if you don't have a studio and you're going to ask them to submit it and pick it online, I created that back in the days. So here's a little screenshot of ShootQ for those of you who don't use ShootQ or not aware of it. Over here on the left-hand side are all the email templates that I've kind of created. It goes down quite a bit, but engagement session, time to book, wedding is on our blog, what to expect after the engagement or the portrait, wedding is on Collages. So over here you can drop in variables. Right now for weddings I just call them newlyweds. I like to do that, and we thank them for allowing us to photograph their wedding, and then the process of what we do with the wedding images and how long it'll take for them to see their images. So that is that for the computer part. I'm going to get into just a little bit. I know it's kind of, everybody has their own way of what they do after capture. I'm just going to share what I like to do and how I've kind of just dialed it in for my taste. So hopefully maybe that'll work for you, or you can take something away. So on my desktop, I have a client folder that has subfolders in it. I just keep this right in the left-hand corner, and I just duplicate it anytime I have a new client come in. So in there, in the folder, I have subfolders. So I have one that's all the originals straight from the card. Then I have all the edited raw pictures that I've worked on. Then I have a JPEG folder. I have a proofing folder, so anything I want to upload to Collages for the galleries. Anything, I have a blog folder, so anything I want to put on the blog. Digital brag books, so for Collages, anything that I want to use for the digital brag books, I put in there, and any kind of Facebook or Instagram goes in that folder. So that way I have it all there in one location. I just duplicate it and I rename the client folder with the date. So I set up the client folder, I duplicate it, and I name it. For instance, I do the date, 4/24/14, Brittany and Kevin wedding. From my memory cards, I drag all the photos to the original folder, and then I have it backed up. For me, it's on my computer, and then I also have it backed up to another, not my Drobo, but to another drive that automatically backs up my desktop. So that way, if my computer ever crashes, I have the original photos. So I call all my images in Photo Mechanic. It's probably the fastest raw processor that will populate the photos, so I can just kind of breeze through them real quick and rate the ones that I want to keep. Once I rate the photos that I want to keep, I drag those over to the edited folder, number 2. So then I imported the Lightroom and I add the metadata and the keywords so I can find the pictures if I have anything, the vendors I've worked with, metadata, etc. As I go through the photos in Lightroom, and this is kind of more for weddings, but I rate the photos. I do a 5-star and I add color labels as well. So 5-star is usually anything I want to take into Photoshop and work on, remove blemishes or anything like that. And then I add color labels. I use 2, one for vendor photos, so if they're bouquets or flowers or cakes or anything I want to give to a vendor, I give it a yellow color label. And then I use the number 9, which is blue, for anything that's going to be blog photos. So anything that's usually blog photos is also going to be for Facebook or Instagram or things like that. So once I'm in Lightroom and I've got that done, I kind of go through, pick the ones, delete some that I might not want. I color correct all the pictures, I rename them, and then I back up my number 2 folder, my edited raw folder, to DVDs. So once I'm done editing, I export them to the number 3 folder, which is my JPEG folder. So those are print ready, ready to go. And then I burn 2 DVD copies. Even though I have the mirrored RAID system, I'm kind of particular about making sure everything's backed up and I don't ever lose it. Hard drives crash, so you want to make sure you're protected. So we burn 2 DVD copies. We keep one here in the office, and then I give another copy to my in-laws so they kind of keep it at their house, and I have protection. So we've had our hard drive crash. It wasn't Drobo, but it was another one, and they were able to restore all the data out of it and get it, but it almost took 2 weeks for them to transfer all the information over to a new drive. So we did have to use those DVDs and pull out some of those DVDs so we can get some client orders done. So make sure you're protected with your client's images. So once that's done, I export all the photos to my proofs folder. And these are just low resolution that's going to go up to the collages.net gallery. That's usually about 1,000 pixels wide. And I'll kind of go into that once the Lightroom. And then finally, I just move over my client folder. So my JPEG folder, any finished prints, goes to my mirrored RAID system. And I also will add like the blog photos, so if I need to get to them, or the digital Bragwood photos, I can get to them pretty quickly. That's like my blue folders, blue favorite photos to export to my blog or Facebook, and I'll talk about what I'm using now to do that as well. Then I delete the original folder off my hard drive. I do not keep the original images from weddings. Anything that I feel is not good to work on, I delete. So I've never had a client be mad for deleting the original folder. You know, I put it in my contracts that you know, it's up to our discretion to determine what to keep and what to get rid of. So it's just shooting raw and shooting that many pictures and trying to keep the unedited raw pictures. That's just asking for trouble as far as storage space and money. So we delete them. And then I upload my proofs to collages.net, and I upload to social media and blog, and I am done with that client. So as far as blogging social media, I'm going to jump over here into BlogStomp. I don't know if you've heard of it, seen it, or not, but it is the best $50 I have ever spent as far as saving time. I'm just going to show you a couple of screen grabs of BlogStomp, what it's about, so if you're not familiar with it, you might want to spend that $50 on it. So as far as BlogStomp goes, you can just bring in your full-res JPEG images over here on the left-hand side, and it'll automatically crunch them to a certain size so you can blog them or Facebook them or anything. You can create any kind of logo, colors, schemes, or anything, and have a template set up of where you want that logo to drop. Over here, if I didn't like that over here, I could move it up to the top right-hand corner and just hit stomp it. It would put my logo on there, resize it, and put it in another folder. So another great thing about BlogStomp is you can have all your images and have it go directly to your blog from BlogStomp. You can add your post title, you can put it in your categories, you can add, if you want to have a Pinterest button added to it, you can include hyperlinks in your text, You can save it as a draft down here, or you can have it automatically published. You can also use your alt tags for your photos, and you can embed your keywords over here. So you can do single images, or you can do, actually I think it's 2 slides away, so you can also have your images go directly to Facebook. Again, you're in the one-stop place where you can do your blog, Facebook, Twitter, and hopefully soon Instagram. I'm hoping that'll be added to it. So over here you can also, they have the freestyle section, so if you guys like to create little storyboards or anything like that, if you select 3 images over here and hit freestyle, you'll have different styles that it'll add to and automatically put into either square, rectangle, vertical, or horizontal. So a lot of times too, I'll do, like, especially for seniors in Instagram, I'll do like 3 pictures, so it's a square format, hit stomp it, and that way I can just upload it to Instagram from here, and I have a storyboard like there in a second. So if you do not have this and you're spending time behind the computer adding each individual picture to your blog, get Blog Stomp. It'll save you so much time. It's kind of like that aha light moment. So I think we're nearing the end of this, but I want to talk about setting up iDevices. So everybody has mobile phones, iPads, Kindles, and things like that. I use Lightroom to set up iDevices. So I create my little portfolio so I can have them on my phone and also on my iPad, and I do that directly from Lightroom as well. So you can create a published folder, but it's basically your portfolio for on the go for sharing certain things. So I have portfolios for weddings, for seniors. I have venue samples, so if I'm meeting with a wedding client, I can have different venues that I've worked with and say, look, here's Lions Crest Manor. Here's a wedding we shot there. Here's a wedding at the Catholic church we shot at that you're getting married at. We can also have album design samples so clients can see the difference of different designs, a clean design, a funky design, card samples. So if you put all your card samples in one place, you can actually show them instead of printing them out. Here's my grad cards. Here's my Christmas cards. Here's my birth announcement cards. Also, all those PDFs and product guides that I talk about, I have them on there. And then also I've put slideshows on there. So anything I've done with emotion, so certain seniors or venues or things like that, I have it also so I can show it to clients. So you can use Lightroom to manage and create your iDevices. So when you go into Lightroom, you go into your Publishing Manager. So you create a main folder on your hard drive somewhere and name it. So I name mine iDevices. So then you export location. You pick the export location and point it to that folder you just named. The file settings that I use are JPEG quality, 80, and I also select include video. Image resizing, I resize to fit at 1920 by 1920. And then I don't enlarge to 17 pixels. 19 by 20 by 19 by 20 is HD, so whatever I put it on, so if I connect my iPad to a TV, if I put it to a projector, I can actually have it in HD quality. So create individual categories for your published folders. So if you're working on a wedding, select the ones that you want, so you can put them in venue, you can put them in wedding portfolio, your best of, anything that you want. Drag those photos into that select category. Underneath there, there'll be a button that says Publish. Click Publish, and then once you sync your iPad or iPhone to your computer, it'll automatically sync that folder to your device. So that is it. That is the end for me, guys. I appreciate you. If you want to find me on Facebook, my name is R. Bothwell. If you want to email me, you can. Our website is Roca Studios or Elegant Images. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'd be glad to help you any way I can. So, Kevin, that is it for me. Thanks for having me. If anybody has any questions, I guess we can take them out.